listening to Post-Credit Depression, where we discuss this week's current hyperfixation. My name's Kinsey, and my fun fact for this week is that I have a cat named Chowder who happens to have 14 front toes.
My name's Mariah, and Kinsey did not mention Bean, even though she has 2 cats.
Maybe I would mention him next week.
Maybe. My favorite Disney princess movie is Sleeping Beauty.
My fun fact for this week is...
What's your name?
My name's Kailen. And my fun fact for this week is I've been babysitting dogs as a side hustle.
Side hustle.
Dang, so today you guys got closed for Lightbox. That's exciting.
Oh, yeah. That would be a good fun fact, too. We're going on Lightbox this year.
It's exciting. Can't wait. This will come out after Lightbox, so you don't got to worry about anyone finding you amongst the hundreds of people in Lightbox.
Oh, yeah.
For those who don't know, Lightbox is an illustration, animation, video game convention where a lot of artists that work on those kinds of stuffs will be at, and we can go and ask them some fun questions about making art.
Maybe get some jobs.
Some nice
maybe
connections.
Some good portfolio feedback.
I know, I'm really excited for you guys to go. I mean, I'm sad you guys are going to be gone for like a whole week. Like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Work?
Go hang out with cats?
Home?
I'm excited for
do
the
Kinsey's
demos.
dailies on Genshin. Like,
I'm excited for the demos that they'll have there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to have like a live wolf you can draw.
Are they like things for you to set up and do like art with them? That's what the demos are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I don't even know how to bring stuff for that. Like, will they have it there? Or do I need to pack it?
I'm sure you'd have to bring stuff.
We were bringing your iPads, right?
Yeah, but like for life drawing like that, you need full boards.
I just know
you can life draw without a board, Kailen.
Shit. Maybe bring a sketchbook.
Not like convenient with you guys bringing your one packet of
Maybe
luggage.
A nice big sketchbook that fits in the suitcase. Yeah, and your favorite pencil pouch.
Well, Kinsey's probably going to bring like 4 pairs of shoes, so you got to make sure you got room for that.
Girl.
Well, I was hoping I could get one pair that just matches all the outfits.
Okay. Gotcha.
Kinsey and I split that suitcase. It was expensive as hell.
Yeah.
We get 50% of the economy in there.
Oh, the Leo Rising is not. It's fine.
Unless you want to Venmo me a few dollars for an extra foot. Like, don't know what to tell you, girly.
Just slowly remove some of her stuff and then put yours in. She won't even know.
The day before.
Yeah, the night before.
She'll probably bring some nonsense. I'll be like...
You'll be like, we don't need this one. Come on, Kailen.
Very good at packing.
It's fine. We also made caramel apples today, so everyone add a tally to how many caramel apples Kinsey has had.
Even though we all split one, we're adding one tally.
Yeah, we're all adding 1 to Kinsey's.
I did have the majority of it, so...
It's okay. And then there's more in the fridge, so, you never know how many caramel apples Kinsey actually had.
You won't know.
It's fine. They all came out good, despite... I leaned too far away. Despite them not being green apples.
Despite the peanuts falling to the bottom of them.
Yeah, despite us adding caramel slowly, adding the peanuts, and then them slowly melting down while they're in the refrigerator. The one that you picked up was literally just, like, nuts.
Nuts at the bottom.
I'm pretty sure that's all that was there. It's okay. Well, what can we do? It's fine.
Well, Kailen, what are we talking about this week?
This week, I shared Silent Hill. Silent Hill is a 2006 psychological horror film. By the way, I'm showing the film, not the video game. We have not played the video game. Maybe that will be a later podcast, but it was directed by Christoph Gans and written by Roger Avery and Nicholas Bookreef, also Gans. Gans worked on it double time. The film is an adaptation of Konami's 1999 video game Silent Hill. So,
why did you feel the need to share this one with us? What'd you like about it?
I decided to share it because my buddy Kinsey loves the video game Little Nightmares, and I felt like a lot of the monsters and scenarios that you face in the video game kind of reminded me of the movie, and it was a movie I remember from a long time ago really liking, and it had a good story, so I thought Kinsey would really like it too.
Yeah, you showed it to us, and I was like, I ain't never seen this movie and I read the instructions, and I was like, I feel like this sounds really familiar, but I could be wrong. And then we were watching it, and I was like, I watched this when I was like 13, and I should not have been watching it. So, like, part of the movie I remember, part of it I don't, so it was definitely an experience to rewatch and actually, like, fully comprehend what was happening.
Yeah, Kailen pitched it to me, like, the monsters in the movie, and the colors in the movie, and some of the backgrounds even seem a lot like Little Nightmares, and I was like, let's watch this movie, let's see what she thinks. And the entire time I felt like, did Little Nightmares just draw over these backgrounds? Did they just take these colors? Because, not that I would be mad if they did, because the vibe made so much sense as to why it was so similar to Little Nightmares.
Mm-hmm. And when they say psychological horror, I think definitely more of the psychological part, because there was only a few parts that had me, like, tense, but it was never like anything that jumped out at you or was super scary. I just genuinely enjoyed the story. I don't, you won't really catch me watching a whole lot of scary movies by myself. Not that I don't like them. It's just, a little bit of a scaredy cat.
Yeah, I was just telling Kailen today I would like a horror fiend.
I'm a horror fiend.
I mean, not like fiend, but I like horror films. I think it's just because my birthday's in Halloween. I'm like always been attracted to anything spooky. But like a horror film with a good story, completely different situation. You show me some jump scare ass shit that's just supposed to like make me piss my pants for 2 seconds. I'm not buying into it. Mm-hmm. So like some good stories actually pull you in. It's like when you watch like the old like Jason movies, Friday the 13th movies. Like they're actually stories with backgrounds and like depth to it.
Mm-hmm. Coming up ahead here, we're going to have a couple of spoilers. If you have not seen this movie, that is from, what did I say, 2009?
Yeah.
So if you've not seen this movie and, you've been really meaning to get around to it the past couple of years, I would recommend watching it first.
You sounded like a sports broadcaster when you first started. It was funny.
I'm going to give a little breakdown of how I remember the movie. So we start off the movie, honestly, pretty bad. I did not have high hopes for it simply because of the acting that I was seeing. Or maybe it's because of the lack of information. When I watch the beginning of movies and I don't really know a lot what's going on, I tend to be pretty hypercritical. Like, what are they stressing out about? I feel like this is very forced. But you start off with this woman running around in the woods, screaming for some little girl's name. I guess it's her daughter or whatever. And apparently this is something that happens a lot. Her daughter runs off and has little
night terrors,
sleepwalks. And she's, like, screaming or manic or really just looking possessed. And you see the father stressing out, too. He's like, oh, my God. What's the girl's name, anyways?
It was something weird, like Paula.
No, it was like...
It was a really old lady name.
We'll call it Alexa.
I can literally wiki it.
I guess we can wiki it, guys. But they're looking for...
Sharon.
Sharon. What the hell? Yeah, Sharon. We're looking for our girl, Sharon. Because she started walking off into the woods. And her mom's running through this, like, mud and gunk. And this little girl, Sharon's sitting by the edge of this, like, cavern hole-looking thing. And it's weird while you're watching it because you're seeing, like, visions of her dream or what she's seeing into this big old hole. But then you're seeing reality where the mother's like, girl, you're just outside looking into a deep hole. One that you could fall into and die. So... she wakes her up and she's freaking out and stuff, and she's like, oh my gosh, she did it again. And the husband's like, we gotta send her to a mental institution or something. She's like, no, why don't we go to the place that she's been screaming in her dreams, aka Silent Hill? Maybe we should go there.
But instead of telling my husband straight to my face, I'm just gonna take it upon myself to Google everything and just dip with our daughter without telling him.
No, I think she's actually, I think she's told him before that we should go, and he's like, no.
Oh.
And because when she's gone, he's like, don't tell me you're going where I think you're going. And she's like, I'm going. And
look at you, picking up on little things, Kenzie.
He goes on the computer and he sees the recent search history with Silent Hill, and he's like, this bitch really looked this place up and found the address when I told her not to go. So he freaks out, goes after her, but obviously not fast enough. We see our main character with Sharon driving, and Sharon's like a coherent little girl at this point, and she's all like, Mommy, where are we going? And her mom's like, don't worry about it. We'll get there soon. And this hot cop.
We'll get to that later.
We did not know she was hot at this point.
Yeah, she was just a cop that kind of looked funky with her big old helmet and leather pants. And she, like, sees she's at this gas station. She's like, this mom looks a little suspicious, treating her daughter the way she is. Because the daughter's all like, where are we going? I'm so stressed out. Like, blah, 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 blah. I don't know,
She was also stressed out from the drawing. She's like, who scribbled on my drawing? She's like,
this little girl likes to draw drawings when she's, conscious. And then when she goes through her little fits of terror, she likes to draw over her previous drawings in a very malicious, gross looking way. And then she's all like, who did this to my drawing? But it was her.
Cop's like, FBI mode activated, crying little girl.
Yeah, because, that's like a sign from, like, abuse that kids will draw very aggressive images.
The cop didn't even see the image. The cop was just concerned about, like, the crying kid. Mm-hmm. Which was, like, not that I'm saying it's not her business.
She did see it. I think
she was all the way away, and all she said was, why are you drawing this? I have to go in and pay for this gas. And then the cop was like... And then she was like, you okay in there?
You okay in there?
I don't talk to strangers.
Which is never say that to a cop as a child. I'd just be like, I'm fine.
Whatever the fuck, this is kind of the boring part, right? So this is where I'm, like, not really invested. I'm like, I kind of want to know what Silent Hill is. I kind of want to know, like, what's going on or why this little girl's screaming it. But as of right now, I'm not attached to any of these characters. The wife seems really dumb. I didn't like how she didn't really communicate very well with her husband. And the daughter, I don't know. Her personality seems quite bland. I know she's a child. I shouldn't have that much of an opinion on a developing child, but I did. I was like, I don't like you, Sharon. I'm sorry. So, fast forward, they're driving to get to Silent Hill. She recognizes that the cop is, like, right behind her and wants to pull over. And the mom's like, fuck no. And so she drives off real fast, and the cop starts following her. And I was like, what is this bitch
Imagine
doing?
the whole movie wouldn't have happened if you just pulled over, proving you were the parrot, like, calm down.
Oh, the movie would have still happened. The cop just would have been saved.
No, she would have pulled her over and they wouldn't have gotten there.
They got into the accident because she was speeding hell
Oh,
time.
but she said if she would have just pulled over and proved that it was her daughter, which I think is what would have, if
I'm
that
saying
would
that,
have
like,
happened.
What caused the accident?
I don't think that the accident would have, I think they still would have gotten to Silent Hill. I think
yeah,
that
the little...
what we know later in the movie,
Yeah.
I think
I
that
guess
the
you're
story
right.
still would have happened.
Yeah.
The cop just would have been saved.
Okay.
Oh, spoiler. Anyways.
I'm just like,
So-
I'm realizing these solutions as Kinsey's replaying, and I'm like, you could have done that. Anyways.
They get to Silent Hill while they're speeding, and they run into the gate, bust it open.
Wait, before that, they get into a car accident. That's a big
But
point.
we don't know that
No,
yet,
the
Kailen.
gate is before
We're
that.
yeah, they get to
No, they show the car accident. They show it happen. What they show a little girl in the middle of the road, and then she tries to
No.
dodge it.
There's a
We
gate, there's like a
busted
little
into
fence
the
right
gate
before
first.
that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Start it over.
And right now we're telling it through the perspective of how we watched it.
Okay.
So they're
So we're
speeding, on,
driving.
they're speeding on the road, run away from this cop who has her panties in a bunch about them being together.
I have my panties in a bunch too of those tight leather pants.
And because they're speeding away from her, she, drives through this fence because she's like, I got no other way to go. There's no other road and stuff. Bam, break through the fence. Gets to this very foggy place, aka looks like Silent Hill, looks like a very abandoned town. And she's all like, damn. I'm going to fast forward to this part. Basically, the fucking cop catches up to her and is like, what the fuck's wrong with you? But by this point, she had, passed out for a little bit in her car, and then she was woken up by the cop and noticed that her daughter wasn't there. I'm actually skipping a part. She did all this before the cop even got to her. Because remember, she ran looking for her daughter.
Came back.
Yeah. And because for some reason, the daughter was in the car. She's like, what? I just, accidentally got knocked out after crashing, and my daughter's gone all of a sudden. Okay, after she crashes the car, she had blacked out. Whatever the fuck. We wake up, she's awoken. Her daughter's not there. What the fuck? Where is her daughter? She goes and runs around, tries to find her. When she does this, she sees some random ass bitch running around this ghost town, and she's like, that looks exactly like my daughter. Keep that in mind, okay? So she starts running after her, ends up taking a few corners, goes under this building, I don't know, some weird gateway under towards a basement, and she's walking around this dark place, and it starts getting real dark and real
And the tornado sirens go off.
Not yet. She runs around. She sees that corpse, that weird corpse of some guy. He's got a gas mask on, and all of a sudden we see this little baby come out of nowhere.
Did the corpse have a gas mask on?
Yeah, he was one of those
I didn't
people
know
from
that.
the church.
I didn't realize that he had a gas mask on.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm sorry. Keep going.
But anyways, she's walking around this it looks like a prison but underground, which was really weird. There's high fences everywhere. I was like, why is this inside of a basement? But whatever. She's walking around, she hears some weird-ass noise, looks behind her, and there's this baby-looking monster thing. It's maybe an 8-year-old's height, but looks like an infant baby crawling towards her all, limping and shit. And I was like, Kailen, what the fuck is this? And then these tornado sirens go off, and I was like, what? What is going on? And all these babies come rushing into the room.
They're like flesh babies.
Flesh, wet, humid-looking babies.
Mutated, yeah.
And she's like, oh, shit, I gotta get out of here. So she starts trying to run out, you know what I'm saying? The babies kind of get her for, a good fat second, but they didn't fuck her up too bad. And she ends up getting out.
Because it was a short siren period.
Yeah, it must have been a short siren period. At this point, we're like, what is this sirens? Apparently bad things happen when the siren goes off. We don't know, though. She gets out there, runs back to her car. She's like, I guess my daughter wasn't where I thought she was. I'm following this random-ass ghost, but whatever. Gets to her car. That's when the cop's like, fuck you, I caught up to you. And she's like, listen, bitch, something's going on. And you know the cop's like, you're like crazy. You're like probably on some drugs. Like that's probably why you're potentially going to be harmful to your daughter. She's like, no, chick. Babies just came after me.
And she's like, you ran away from me.
You ran away from me. You must be guilty.
And the cop rips off her helmet.
And then that is when we see how hot she is.
I immediately looked at Kinsey. I was like, she's hot.
She's so hot. And I was like, I think I can reconsider how I feel about her.
This monster comes out. I call him the pillowcase monster.
Yeah.
And he, like, spits out acid, and it gets all over her uniform, so she rips it off, and... Seeing you guys light up was the funniest part of watching it together.
Well, basically, Kailen's saying this cop's yelling at this chick, and then this random person who looks like he's in a straitjacket, but has no face, but a hole in his head, starts, like, limping towards them, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he, like, pukes on her, and it looks like it's some acid or some shit, and then the tornado sirens go off, and you see, like, tons of this straitjacket man coming up above the hill, about to come after them, and I'm like, what in the actual fuck? Don't you remember that?
I don't know what you're talking about. I just remember her shooting. She was shooting at... I don't think that...
She was shooting at the guy.
Yeah, and that was it. And then they have a whole conversation afterwards.
But the sirens go off, and on top of the hill, a bunch of other guys come over the hill. And the girl was like, sorry, girl. And she, like, the mom, she runs away. And she's handcuffed, by the way. And we don't see the cop. The cop's still out there doing her own thing.
Oh, yeah. She, like, flips over.
I wasn't done talking about how hot the cop, and I'm kidding.
She's like, I wasn't that far ahead of the movie.
It's okay. That's
Look,
where
when
I
that
still
part of the
was.
movie came out, we were somewhere else, like, thinking about that bleach
Yeah.
short hair.
Yeah, sorry.
That's why
I was thinking about how I love girls with nice short hair, so I was like, not even processing the fact that they were on the run.
You know, when she looked so good, I was kind of stunned when that guy came out.
Yeah, we didn't get to enjoy it enough.
I was like, hold on. But whatever.
Because I think she thinks the cop, like, is dead. She's like, well, I gotta wait, and you have to fight these bitches. Bye.
Basically, she's like, I'm not staying. I just saw these little baby infant weird things. This taller mutant looks very similar to the weird baby mutants. I'm gonna head out.
Mm-hmm.
And so she runs away from the cop and leaves the cop there. And then, doesn't she go into the school?
Yeah. Like, the cop's not with her at this point, but she goes
Now,
into
why
the
does
school.
she choose to go to the school? I forget.
Oh, she goes into the car, and there's a drawing of the school.
Of the daughter in the school, yeah.
All while this cop thing is happening, while she's, like, kind of trying to fight these monsters, right when she had gotten to her car, before she was getting yelled at by the cop, she saw that the drawing said school. So she was like, well, if I'm in Silent Hill, my daughter probably is hinting that I need to go to the school in Silent Hill.
Yep.
So she's running away with her little, handcuffed self to the school and reading these little signs. Luckily, it's a small town, so she's kind of figuring out quite easily how to get to the school, which would be nice, because if I was in that situation, I'd be very scared. But the sirens are all going off at this point, so anything could attack her. We don't know if there's more in buildings or anything. All we know is she's trying to get to this fucking school. So she gets to the school, and when she gets to the school, what happens next? I remember the bathroom scene, because I will never forget that. But
For some reason, siren went off again. Like, I don't remember how it goes off
stopped.
and on. It lasts for a long time sometimes, and then sometimes it lasts like 5 minutes.
I think it probably depends on, like, the creatures. So I think that, like, the babies were short, like, like, they didn't have a goal, where, like, the bathroom guy had, like, a set reasoning behind him.
Yeah.
So I think that his story was just, like, longer. So I wonder if that's why he had, like, a longer...
She gets to the school, and she looks around at desks.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that, and also 2 different completely locations, so maybe since the bad guys were up here, she was safe where she was at the school.
Yeah, that makes sense. We don't really know how these sirens work, okay, folks? People who are listening about this movie. Whatever happens is a siren goes off, crazy... Bad things happen, and then the siren goes off again, and all of a sudden it will disappear instantly. Yeah. And it's all good again. So, our main character, what's her name? The mom?
Let me wiki it.
Whatever, I'm going to call her mom until Kailen figures out her name.
Rose,
running around, finds the school, walks in the school, looking at classrooms, finds a classroom with some desks and junk, finds some clues that we'll talk about later, right? Some sort of person is prevalent in this school. Whatever the fuck. I think right now she's trying to find clues to be like, why is my daughter drawing about some school in her little nightmare sketches? She's running around, and then she runs into these people, these gas mask people, who look like the scuba diver from SpongeBob. In the movie, like the big gold outfit. They probably actually don't, but that's what I think about when I think about them. And they don't seem very friendly because they start running after her. So she's like, well, shit. She runs the other direction, busts in some room, holds herself up against the door, and the guys are trying to get in there, like, knocking on the door, and she's like, shit, like, there's 3 guys against me, they're probably gonna get in here. Well, the sirens go off once more, and I'm like, damn, these sirens go off on and on. This isn't good.
Actually, I think just a few things are out of order.
Doesn't she meet the girl?
She goes into the bathroom first, takes the thing out of his mouth, comes out of the hallway, the gas mask guys are there, so then she bars it, then the siren goes off.
Fuck, whatever.
It's okay. That, honestly,
the funny part is your synopsis, not if it's 100% accurate.
You're
right.
It's
close enough.
But we had to mention the creepy part about getting into his mouth. That freaked me out.
Before she starts getting ran over by these guys, she's in the bathroom already, just looking around, might as well. She goes to the end. She does this because she's following the girl around the town, guys. You gotta remember this. The girl went into the bathroom. She's like, that's my daughter. She looks just like my daughter.
That's why she went in the bathroom. You're right.
Yeah, she checked the stall that her daughter was supposed to be in because she ran into it. She wasn't there. So she kept looking in the stalls, gets to the last stall, and there's a man, like, strung up like a chicken dinner, all spread across, open, with barbed wire and junk. It looks quite insane. Graphic. And there's, like, writing on the wall being like, I double dare you, or I triple dog dare you, or some shit, to take something out of his mouth because his mouth is open. But, like, how do you know if he's alive? And after seeing all this crazy shit, how do you know he's not going to get up and fuck you up? I'm, like, on the edge of my seat at this point in the movie because I was like, how many different kinds of monsters go off with this siren? And will he be one? So she takes it out of his mouth. Good for her. I would have already killed myself by this point.
Honestly.
I was seeing the monsters in this movie. I was like, no, thank you. She takes it out of his mouth, and then she's like, it's like the next clue. And doesn't it tell her to go to the hotel?
Yes, it's like a piece of the sign or the room number.
It's a room number, I'm pretty sure.
Some shit. It's very video gamey.
Oh, yes.
And then this is when the sirens go off. And the guys outside saw her, the guys that look like gas mask guys, we don't know if they're good or bad, and they start coming after her. So she tries to shut the bathroom door so they can't come in, but because the siren went off, Mr. Manses in the last stall wakes the fuck up, and he is crawling his ass towards her.
That is the one scene I remember from watching when I was a kid. Something about the way that thing comes crawling underneath the bathroom stall. Like, I repressed everything else horror about that movie, but that particular scene, like, is embedded in my mind.
It's the Alfred Hitchcock theory. Like, the bomb theory. If you know something's coming, you're going to be more scared. For example, right now, if a bomb went off, it would shock us. That it's not psychologically scary. We saw what was in the bathroom.
Yeah, it's already a horror film. You knew something creepy was
we
gonna
know
happen.
what's in there, and like already scared if it's a threat or not. So then when the siren goes off, it's just, like lighting the match to the bomb.
And they fool you too, because she's like, "Okay, I'm safe in the bathroom," and then all of a sudden she looks over, and there's just this man backwards walking.
It's because you know it's coming. It fucks with your brain.
They did good.
And the funny thing is, this school, the way it's designed, looks just like the second game of Little Nightmares of the school level.
Yeah.
And it was that, if you've ever played Little Nightmares 2, which we will eventually for the podcast, the school is very scary in my opinion. I think the colors, the music, and the suspense felt like when I watched several of the scenes in this movie. But she doesn't end up going out towards the direction of those gas masks. She ends up going in another door that's connected to the bathroom. Doesn't she?
No, I think she leaves and she sees the gas mat people dying. She sees it, and then she sees that they're getting killed, so she books it.
The other way.
Okay, so she opens the door because she's like, I got a better chance against these gas mask men than whoever the fuck's crawling towards me right now. So she opens the door, and she's thinking, I'm probably going to fight them. No. This man, who's got a giant-ass pyramid on his head, is beating the shit, killing them, ripping them apart. He's very muscular, but he's very scary. And I've seen images of him before watching this movie.
And he just slowly comes after her. He's not running after her, but he's coming.
Yeah, he starts dragging his sword after her. We start seeing her run through certain rooms that I don't really know what they are, because it seems like when the sirens go off, even the structures of rooms change. Like, flesh covers the walls and stuff.
Oh, I remember what happens next. She has a dumb blonde horror movie moment, and she trips. And do you remember what happens after that?
No, what happened?
Our hot cop drags her in her handcuffs into a room and shuts the door.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Whatever, y'all get the fact that these monsters quite scary, and they wake up, and it's stressful. So, she gets pulled in that room, cop saves her, they go through some shit, Pyramid Head Man does find them, tries busting open the door, but they get out. Good for them.
Because the siren went back to normal.
Yes, the siren turned back on, or at least it, went away. That's great. So then they get the fuck out of there. The cop's like, what the hell is going on? She's like, I don't know. We need to go to this hotel. All right, we'll go to the hotel. Because what the hell is going on? They try to go into the edge of the town, realize that the road that they drove to get into the town, broken, gone. They're like, why can't we get out? Oh, well. And she's like, that's why we should just go to the hotel. I'm following these clues because I got no other choice. So cop's like, I guess so. Because she is convinced at this point.
Yes.
This woman's
She's
like,
I will uncuff you now.
Yeah. So they get to the hotel. This
One quick detail. I just want to talk about that. Not the scene itself, but when she crushes that bug, that energy. That was some good energy that the cop was giving us.
On the bug, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was some femme mask energy I really enjoyed.
For all my fellow gays, look out for the bug crushing scene when the cop saves Rose's ass, okay?
On their way to the hotel.
On their way from the Pyramid Head man. But now they're on their way to the hotel, now that they realize they can't leave this place for help. They're like, well, we're going to have to figure something else out. They get to the hotel, run into some weird-ass, evangelist-looking-ass motherfuckers, a.k.a. some... What was the girl's name, Kailen?
I think that one was Anna.
Let's just say her name's Anna. She definitely looks, she looks like she's been stuck in her house all her life against her will. But she's, like, rummaging through this old hotel and finding some cans and junk, and they're like, what's going on? She's like, well, I'm just getting some food for my family because we have, like, barely anything to eat. And they're like, do you know about this crazy shit that's going on? She's like, hell yeah, man. The only safe place is the church.
I was reading, I confirmed it's Anna, and a very fun fact about Anna is she was born into the fog world. She's never known the outside world.
Whoa.
No knowledge of the outside world.
You can have kids in... Wow.
Yeah, it was definitely just making everyone to be stuck in time. So that means, like, people are aging also.
So, yeah.
That's crazy. We'll get to that in a second. That'll be
that's
exciting.
kind of dumb.
So, don't the sirens go off again when they're in the hotel and she's like, we gotta get to the church? Because they don't rip the photo yet. Do they rip the photo and get in that room?
I think they just rip the photo and they get in the room.
Okay, guys. Mm-hmm. So whatever fucking hint she got from the man in the toilet told her to go to the hotel, and she ended up figuring out it was like 666, like the room in the hotel. She went to
it was 111 or something.
Room
111.
111.
You're right, 111. Wow, an angel number. She goes to 111 and she's like, there's actually no room 111, but she looks in the space between 110 and 112 and there's a painting. She rips it open. Da-da-da, there's a door 111. She's like, this is crazy. Very video game-ish. She gets in the door. What was in the door?
Not a room. There was an open ledge to another building.
Oh, yeah. And they hopped across. She chased the little girl for a while, went across these beams. The cop's like, what the fuck you doing?
Yeah.
And they saw, like, the whole setup from...
Didn't they see the big old hole?
Yeah, it's the whole setup from the girl before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then she had some clue that she needed to go to...
Hold on.
Okay.
So I didn't really clarify. They jumped through this door, right, guys? And Mariah just said that it wasn't a room. It was actually access to another building. They jump across, and in that building, there's a big-ass hole. The hole we saw at the beginning of the movie when the little girl... Right? Mm-hmm. When the little girl was having those little weird dreams, like we were seeing from her perspective, her dreams, looking into this giant hole. That is the hole that we saw. So it definitely seemed like important or symbolic or whatever the fuck. And then, didn't the siren go off when they were in that building and they had to run to the church?
No, I don't think the siren went off again until they were at the church.
Yes, and it was like, come hang out.
No, because the siren went off. And they were all freaking out. She's like, we have to get to the church. It's not very far away. We can make it. The siren's going off, and they are actively running away, and monsters are coming out at them, remember? Because once they get to the church doors, there was tons of fucking monsters behind them. So it definitely happened before they got to the church. Mm-hmm. But Anna's the one guiding them to this church, right? They're running their asses off. All these monsters come out like crazy. So there must be different sirens for different amounts of monsters to come out and junk like that. Dumby.
He's eating the bag. Guess that's the end of that.
Me too.
We kind of missed an important part, which was the old lady that they also saw around the town.
Yeah, she was at...
she was at the church. And it was beating the fuck out of her with rocks.
Yeah.
You mentioned her at the beginning. You were like, there's this old lady who looks like she hasn't been out of her house in months, and she said that daughter...
Oh, I was mentioning Anna.
But when we're introduced to Anna's actively throwing rocks at our old lady, our old creepy lady.
Yeah.
So I think it was just miscommunication. I was talking about Anna. I was like, Anna definitely looks like... But
yeah, I guess we
there was an important old lady from the beginning whatever. She's some weird lady. We're like, maybe you live in this fog land too, and she's trying to snatch away Rose's daughter because apparently Rose's daughter looks, aka Sharon, looks just like this old lady's daughter. So from the beginning of the movie, Rose was like, I'm not going to talk to you, old lady. Goodbye. Because the old lady seemed a little deranged. At this present moment, we are running away towards the church with Anna. And we get to the church in the nick of time, but the old lady is sitting at the bottom of the stairs, and she's telling us not to go into the church. She's like, listen, don't go into the church, man. Like, they're way worse. They're the reason we're here. And she's saying this as monsters are piling up behind her, about to eat our homeboys. Like, our guys that are trying to get into church.
Stay out here. The water's warm.
Stay out here. The water's just fine.
And they're like, these guys have been trying to actively kill us this whole movie.
Yes.
No, thank you.
And they feel, like, quite concerned because they're like, this old lady's out here. She's about to get ate, at least to our knowledge. And she's telling us to stay out here, but, like, it doesn't really look that safe to stay out here. Anna, the person that led them to the church, on the other hand, is getting all booty hurt that this old lady is telling them to stay outside.
Talking shit about the church and
Talking shit about the church, So Anna looks at her with a big, mean look on her face, grabs some rocks to throw at the old lady.
She says that, like, they're all fools. Like, the church, don't listen to them. Like, what they say is a lie. And, like, don't worship a lie.
Yeah, and Anna was like, fuck you, this is my church, bitch. Gets a little rock, tosses it at her old lady face, and all of a sudden Pyramid Head shows up the fuck out of nowhere.
The opposite of dissolved, like, right in front of us, like...
Yes, he appeared out of thin air, and he grabs Anna by the fucking neck. He grabs Anna by the neck, like, rips her clothes off, and I was like, alright, she's naked now, hanging from Pyramid Head's hands, and then he rips her skin off like they were her clothes.
He grabs daughter titties, grabs her chest, twists it around in a circle, and rips it off.
And we see Anna disfigured at this point.
And he throws the skin towards the church door, and the door shut, and the blood splatters all over her mother and the other church members.
While this is happening, obviously, our main characters, Rose and the hot cop, did not choose to stay outside and watch. They're like, oh, fuck. They start running to the door, and at the last second when they shut the church door, Anna's carcass is thrown at the door. And I was like, wow, I hope that old lady's okay. She's out there with all those monsters. So then, whatever, we're in the church with some crazy bitches. They say they love God, and God's the only reason that keeps them safe. Our main characters are like, well, then why can't you leave? Like, what's going on? What do you mean? And they're like, don't question the faith, What happens next? I know they want to get to the next area.
Actually, at first, they call them witches, and rips Rose's necklace off with the picture of Sharon in it, and it falls to the ground. Later on, that piece is important because the head witch lady picks it up, not looking at the picture, just like, let me just give this back to her later. And the last vision we got in the hotel was that she needed to get to I'm called the hospital room. I don't know what the clue was, but it is the hospital room. She's like, I need to get to the hospital room. And she's like, the deepest depths, like the seed of this place.
She's like, do you know where the hospital is? She's like, I know what you're talking about. And it's like the deepest parts of hell in this place. And she's like, what? And she's like, yeah, the monster resides down there on that floor, and you're going to have to figure out how to get there yourself.
Nobody's come back alive from there.
Nobody's come back alive. And Rose is
but it's definitely this vibe, like, she doesn't trust them. Like, the church lady does not trust them the whole time.
She's like, you want to go kill yourself? Fine by me.
She's got to let you, but if you actually want to live, unlike what's going on out there, you have to stay with us. You better stay with us, and you better love God, because if you don't love God, you're totally not staying with us.
Yeah, she's like, do you have faith? And she's like,
what's faith gonna do to get us out of here? She literally says that. I'm pretty sure she's like, what's faith got to do with any of this? Like, I got faith, but we want to live.
Yeah, like, Rose is like, I love my daughter, and she's like, I didn't ask you that. I asked, do you have faith? You know? So whatever. She obliges and takes her downstairs to the deepest level she could, and she's like, after this, you'll have to figure out how to get to the deepest level.
Yeah, she has her study this map, and she's like, left, right, left,
Yeah, she's memorizing this map as best she can, and this is the moment where the old lady decides to just happen to look into her locket before she gives it back to her, and lo and behold, this little chick in the locket looks like some bitch the girl doesn't like. This church lady's like, oh my god, she has this witch bitch that I knew from years ago in her locket. They are witches. Mm-hmm. And Rose is like, what are you talking about? And she's like, the girl in this locket was a witch.
Is the devil.
Was a witch when
Alessa.
Oh, yeah,
Alessa.
Alessa. She was a witch when a few years ago, and we got rid of her because she brought only sin to this town. And we're all like, poor girl, little Alessa, oh my god.
Because she was born out of wedlock, automatically a witch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So at this point, the church people turn on them right at the elevator and is like, we're going to actually kill y'all bitches. Like,
yeah, so then our hot cop lady.
She steps in.
Well
Well appreciated.
She throws our homegirl Rose into the elevator. She's like, figure it out, girl. And I don't know why she didn't just get in the elevator with her, because there was totally enough
It's
space
probably
and
fear
distance.
of, like,
this
them
is like a Jack and
stopping
Rose
the
moment.
elevator. Like, you know, like, what if we hop in and they stop it? What if they hop in, they, like, have another way to stop it, like, electronically?
But wouldn't they have stopped it after they...
yeah, I'd have
fucked
pointed
up
my
with
gun
the
out the
cop?
whole time.
They have time. The difference between that is, like, literally a matter of a couple of minutes. Like, the cop delayed it enough for the elevator to close and start moving.
Oh, and get all the way down. All right, well, this is what happens.
If we're doing logically, like, movie magic right here, that makes sense.
We're having a Jack and Rose moment where they're like, there's enough room on the door.
Yeah. So she throws Rose in the elevator, and she's like, I got you. Shuts the elevator and starts fighting off these gas mask men. Which, by the way, the gas mask men worked for the church. You know, they'd go out, get materials, come back to the church.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't seem very nice, though, because they're very aggressive, like this old lady. They start beating the shit out of our hot cop. We were like, damn.
Well, she was out of bullets, remember? She was bluffing.
Yeah, so she had no choice. She was getting her shit rocked. While our homegirl Rose was descending the chambers to the deepest floor. Whatever that's supposed to mean. She gets down there, and she's like, I got my directions in my head. Hopefully I figure this out. She's turning left, turning right, doing the best she can. She runs into these hot-ass nurses that have whack faces but hot bodies. And they look like the mannequins in the second Little Nightmares video game that only move when light's on them. But these ones... Oh, wait, no. They don't move when light's on them, right? These ones
when light is on them, they don't move. That's the same as Little Nightmares. You have to shine the light on them the whole time for them to stay still.
No, it was definitely the opposite.
It was the opposite for this one, right?
When the light was on, they moved. When the light was off, they didn't move.
Oh,
yeah,
wait, she was right.
And the old lady tried telling her, she's like, you'll need that light to survive. She's like, you'll need that light to survive, but you'll be running to save your life. And when you get down there, it's not even that dark. Like, Rose totally could have turned the light off.
Oh, they said that the demons are attracted to the light, but you can't see without it.
Yes.
Yeah. And so she had to get through this giant group of hot nurses. They're like packed, like sardines in a can, dog. She had to get through them.
And they were stabbing each other.
They were stabbing each other. They had these little knives. And she had to get through them without touching them and without using her light, or, they'd come after her ass. Luckily, she did it. Good for her. And then after that, did she just get to the room magically after taking a few lefts and turns? Right,
it was a lot more tense than that. It felt
think
really...
she had to take like a specific left, right, like, and she like kind of counted, and they said, I take a left after this many right doors or something like that.
Let's just say specifically, if she didn't have that map, I'm sure she would have ran into some more monsters, but she didn't. And she gets to this room, and it looks like a hospital room. Some bitch is crying in the corner, some nurse, and there's like a dead ass kid in the bed, and we're like.
Well, I'd say a sickly kid. I don't know if
she looks close to death.
Yeah, she was close to death. She was.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to skim this part too, where she shows? I don't want to take over the.
Oh no, I was just saying, how should I skim it? How would
be
you
like, this girl tells her the whole truth, basically, her tragic backstory and how this church straight up took her and publicly executed her.
Basically, this chick in the bed talks to Rose. Tells her whole story, says, I was fucked over by the church. They thought I was a witch for many stupid reasons. So after they killed me and burned me alive, I decided to fuck with them for the rest of their lives.
I decided to be evil.
I decided to be evil. And then, death pops out. Like this little girl that's supposed to represent death or the Reaper or hopefully Satan or something. She's like, this little girl in this bed right here? Yeah, she was so mad I decided to help her. And that's why all these monsters actually are manifested all the time. Because I just used her anger to, make them real. And the little girl on the deathbed's like, hell yeah. So we kind of work together. This little girl on the deathbed, her name's Alessa. She is the girl that the church burned for being a witch or whatever the fuck. And she looks just like Rose's daughter, Sharon.
Well, Sharon is all the goodness that was left in Alessa extracted out, turned magically into a baby, and dropped off at an orphanage doorstep in the real world.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Satan or the Reaper or whatever is the person that took all of the good things out of, burnt up Alessa sitting in the hospital bed and made her into a baby and dropped her off at, Rose's door. So it's very interesting that the Reaper herself, aka Satan, decided to do that. Be like, I like this little girl less, and although I like helping her angry parts, maybe I should take all her happy parts out, and hopefully we can fix this in the future. We can salvage something. She's like, but these people totally deserve to be tortured for the rest of their lives.
Some revenge.
For burning this little girl alive when she was just a kid. So Rose finds out this information. Bam. That's the truth. That's crazy. Didn't she do some sort of blood transfer with the demon when she was there? Because the demon, aka Satan, who I've been talking about, cannot walk into the church. You know why? Because the church's people's blind faith is so strong, not to a real God. Their blind faith about them not doing anything wrong is so strong.
Some type of,
There's some sort of ritual, and then she just merges into her body.
Yeah, that's what it is. She goes into Rose's body.
The thing is, they can only let people in that they allow. And because their blind faith does not believe that they're wrong, she is not allowed to walk into that church to enact revenge.
It's a very interesting thing, because it's like, in this world created by, Alessa's rage and revenge, it's so interesting that their faith holds any power in this world. That is something that I thought about.
But think about this. If they will not admit they've ever done anything wrong, any torture given to them will never, will never be, accepted that they deserve it. They'd be like, you're torturing me because you're a bad person. And the whole point was, Alessa's like, you need to know that any pain you go through is because it was your fault, not because I'm some sort of...
That's a good point, because just like with any sort of person you're ever mad at, think of someone who's done you wrong and you've tried to logically explain it to them, hey, here is how you hurt me, and they just won't recognize it, then they will never feel necessarily your revenge. They'll just think you're being shitty to them.
It's almost like it never existed. Them hurting you, quote unquote, never existed if they will not address it. So that's why the Reaper, or I don't think Alessa can really do anything because she's burnt up to a crisp in that bed. But her homie, the Reaper, can't walk in there and enact torture for her.
You can't enact revenge and them know it's revenge without them understanding that. Yes.
So she did some sort of blood thing where she's like, I'm gonna give you some of my blood. Go walk in that church.
Tell
the
them
devil
what's
did.
up.
Tell them what's up. And because they let you into the church, since my blood is in you, they technically let me into the church. Which I think is a really funny church.
Well, yeah, and I think it makes sense that Rose explained what they did wrong, and that allowed her to show herself. Here's the facts.
Yeah, Rose pops up to
this door. You guys can no longer be blind when I'm telling you exactly what you did wrong, which I think let the Reaper into the church, because that barrier of we are correct was broken.
The funny thing is nobody had ever entered that church. Nobody was allowed into that church that believed otherwise, that they were wrong. They never let the deranged mother in there. So the fact that they let Rose in there, and she said it for the first time, and then the old lady stabs Rose, by the way. She stabs this chick in front of all of her followers and Jesus' followers. She's like, I know we're not supposed to kill people, guys. She literally drops the knife. She's like, but this was a witch, so it's not really that bad because she's not a person. And so Rose is out here bleeding on the floor, but she's actually bleeding out all of the devil that was inside of her.
And before this scene, real quick, rest in peace, Hot Cop.
Dang.
Right before Rose came in, right? Hot Cop is being sacrificed to a giant fire. She's tied to this giant stick, and Rose's actual daughter, Sharon, who looks just like Alessa, is on the other one.
Yeah, they snatched her up
and they're
from
like,
the old lady.
we're going to kill the cop first so you can see how you'll die, and then we'll kill you, Sharon, aka we actually think you're Alessa. And she was like, oh my god, she's just
we had to watch the cop just melt away.
Yeah, and they killed her because Rose didn't get there in time.
I was like, you should have hopped in that elevator. So anyways, back to stabbing and bleeding out.
Cop dies. Rose happens to show up just in time before her daughter gets burned to death, and that's when she does all that stuff y'all were the problem, she wasn't a witch, old lady stabs her, she's bleeding to death on the floor, but then she didn't know that she let the devil into her house because of Rose doing that thing downstairs with her. And the devil comes out of nowhere, and it gets super dark and crazy, and the original Alessa comes out from the depths of her hospital room bed, up in her bed. She's laying in her bed vertically, and she's got these spider mechanical barbed wire arms crazy, and she's basically talking smack. She's like, y'all burned me alive, and for what? And now I'm in your house. Let's see if your God will protect you now. And the old lady's like, oh, fuck no, fuck this is crazy.
And she said, God, please keep me pure.
Yeah, God, please keep me pure. And this little girl picks her up with these barbed wires, rips out her coochie, straight up, and rips out other things like her chest and her heart, and she's just poking holes through her while dragging shit out, and brutally murders this woman. The doors of the church are a push-only door, push from the outside in, so all these people are banging up against the door not knowing they are locking themselves in, but it does not matter anyways because Miss Alessa has got some plans for them, and she brutally murders and rips apart every single person in that church, but Rose.
I'd say she picked
Sharon.
them off pretty one at a time too.
She did one at a time. She enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So like Rose and Sharon are sitting in the corner watching everybody die, but they're not getting killed. They're not getting killed at all, and then they pass out.
They pass out, or specifically, Sharon passes out when the Devil Reaper thing walks up.
Yeah, the Devil Reaper. While OG Alessa is killing people from her hospital bed, the Devil Reaper, who's like, yeah, I kind of helped all this. This was great. She walks up to Sharon.
All creepy like. You don't have to do it like that.
She looks her dead ass in the eyes, and Sharon goes, "Pah, and I hit the floor, pah." You know?
Yeah, and I mentioned that too because there's a couple theories we had going along with that specific moment.
Wonder why that happened, and then what is?
Yeah, they wake up, they go get in the car, and they leave silently.
Oh yeah, they fucking turn that car engine on. The road apparently is not gone anymore.
This whole time you did not mention the dad and how the dad's like actively searching for them. That's
just
important
like
to the end.
Sub-story.
We will add that little
thing
end. Right now. We will almost wrap up our story. While Rose is running around this town, by the way, guys, town looks all foggy and shit. You would think her husband's searching for her. He is. He's walking around this town as well because he knew she went to Silent Hill. But when it's from his perspective, everything's lit up. Everything looks like a regular-ass abandoned town, not a foggy one. And they will be in the same place, and they will run by each other, and they don't see each other. And in the movie, you're like, what's going on? Are they in different dimensions? Like, they're literally at the school together. Why did he not see her? Why did he not see these gas men get ripped open by Pyramid Head? What's going on, right? So he's trying to find her with some detective who's being a dickhead to him. And this dickhead detective knows the real story about the whole atrocity that happened at
And he's
Silent Hill.
just choosing not to share. He's like, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that because we're trying to get over it. So whatever, the husband looks for her the entire movie, never finds her. So by the end of the movie, you're like, oh, she's driving home. She's getting home. She'll see him. But her perspective is still foggy even when she gets home. It's still the same kind
it's
of...
so freaky and it's so...
It lightens up a little bit, but it is still very clear that she's in this world.
Yeah, because in his... I'm literally getting chills. In his perspective, it's sunny and warm and really rich, orange, vibrant colors. And her world is this twilight blue and foggy and light and... But a weird light, not bright, gray light. It was weird.
Yeah, so, when we're watching, we were just thinking, obviously when she was at Silent Hill, we had to think of some other dimension. For me, I love things about, churches doing bad things because I'm not really religious, so I find it entertaining. So I thought...
Additionally, pointing out how fucked up the church can be sometimes.
Yeah, but I was just like, this has got to be purgatory, because if they weren't able to leave, and they're in a place that seems so similar to hell. In hell, I was told as a young kid, you constantly suffer. And this was a great representation of suffering that will happen. Maybe it's not 24/7, you get a little break, but it's coming. So I was like, this sounds like purgatory or it sounds like hell. Either one. I also heard purgatory is not that fun either. So that was my guess. And then at the end, when you see that she's still a ghost, she's literally in the house with her husband, and he can't see her. We were like, they are dead. They died. And how'd you think they died, Kailen?
Car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was sitting there, I was like, Kailen, how'd they die? And she's like, girl, look at that car. They totally died from the car accident. That's why...
Even when I rewatched it, when you see how hard her head hits the steering wheel, yes.
Yeah, and how else could they walk into Silent Hill if they weren't dead?
Mm-hmm. Which means the cop, died in that car accident too.
The cop's motorcycle was wrecked.
Yeah, I think they say that. Yeah, I think the cop says it at one point to the dad.
Yeah, right when she catches up, she's like, "We're gonna have to walk. My motorcycle is completely wrecked."
No, I think the male cop that's talking to the dad says their vehicles were wrecked.
Yeah, he did say. He said a cop tried going up to help them, and her vehicle was wrecked, and we're trying to find her too. Yeah. AKA, she is also dead with Rose.
Interesting, their bodies weren't left in the real world though. You think that it would just be their souls, but their bodies went too, which maybe it plays into the capabilities of dying in Silent Hill. You know what I mean? Maybe your physical body was taken along too.
Yeah, Kailen, but you've left the...
Because you
I
can
would
still have
agree
your
with-
flesh ripped off.
Yeah. Kailen, you got a good point. Good point.
But then, like, my argument with that, like, just to play, like, devil's advocate, would be the cops saying that she had a case where a mom and her son, like, didn't she, like, kill her son in a ditch in Silent Hill?
But the thing is, like, I think you have to get in you have to die near Silent Hill to be able to, like, to go walk in.
It's some over the garden wall shit.
It is.
I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying devil's advocate, like, their bodies are found and they died in Silent Hill.
It's some portal ass shit, man.
But
it definitely is. But I'm just
remember,
arguing, like, the fact that their bodies
remember,
appear.
though, it is purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you have to be a certain
But
level
she saved
of
that
bad.
boy. He didn't die.
Maybe you have to be a certain level of bad to be accepted into purgatory. Because they did say towards the end of the movie that somebody lets people into Silent Hill. That he lets them go in and he lets them go out. And I think he was talking about death. So, like, the little girl who represented death, maybe when that mother died in that
Let
ditch,
them.
she was probably like, I don't want them to come into Silent Hill. There's no reason to.
Yeah.
So I think there is some sort of, like...
Yeah, that's like an obvious. Obviously, that Sharon was the key to Silent Hill.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the mother and the son.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they probably weren't allowed in because why the fuck would some innocent people be put in there?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, there's a little story of the cop where one of her backstories and why she's so concerned for kids is that some mom threw a kid down a well or something, or a mine shaft.
I think she said, I never want that to happen again. That's what it was, or something like that.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that's what
But
she said. She's
maybe
like,
they found
this
the
mom
body.
killed her son.
But she,
I never want that to happen
Yeah,
again.
she left for days or something to go find this kid, and they're like, yeah, this cop's really like a what's it called? Dedicated cop especially for kids in danger, which is like one of her character things about saving Sharon.
Yeah. But I thought it was very interesting that this little girl, the original one, Alessa, was so angry and that she enacted her revenge for eternity until these people would, accept that they've died. Because this is also a thing that happened. A huge explosion happened, which killed the entire town of Silent Hill, which is why it was an abandoned ghost town. A lot of people died there. So when she was in Silent Hill, the people who died in Silent Hill didn't even know that they were dead. They were in purgatory hanging out at that church because they talked about how these people of Silent Hill before the explosion, they were looked down upon because they were really crazy, religious, cultish kind of people.
Yeah, they were very culty.
And they were really mean to other people. So a lot of people from neighboring towns were like, well, maybe they kind of got what they deserved because they were such horrible people.
Yeah, like the cop knew what happened. Like people outside of Silent Hill knew that they murdered this girl.
They knew that, and then when the whole thing happened, they were like, the whole explosion, they're like, maybe the explosion happened because of karma, Maybe those people all died because they deserved to. But then we're watching Silent Hill with all these people in the church, and they don't even know they're dead. They just think this is how it is.
Yeah.
Hello?
Oh. Dumby run.
We got some ruckus. But yeah. Is there anything else we want to talk about it?
I really enjoyed. I feel like I was able to dissect a few things, notice a few things throughout our conversation that I didn't notice while watching, and even right after we watched the film, when you brought up some of your points while telling this story, I'm like, I never thought of it exactly that way. Like the whole church power, like having power in that world, because I was like, if this is her made-up world, why do they get power? But, like, that completely makes sense. Yeah. In a world of revenge, you can't really enact true revenge.
True revenge, and I think that's what she wanted. She's like, I want you guys to know you're wrong, and I want you to feel the pain while also being wrong.
Yeah, you don't get to be the victim in this world.
Yeah. I like that.
Also, I wanted... Oh, sorry, Mariah?
So, like, obviously everyone died, but there's not everyone, I'm sure, was, like, a church follower. And I wonder if those people either, like, accepted their death and that's why they were not present. Or
yeah, maybe
if, like,
they passed on to, like, heaven or hell,
Yeah, or if, like, I forgot what I was going to say with that. I think that's probably it. I mean, it makes sense when, like, everyone there was a churchgoer and then the girl's mom. I mean, she's probably like, I'm not dying. Like, my daughter, I need to find her. Or maybe the daughter was like, I need my mom around for this, like, to reveal the truth.
She did keep her mom around on purpose. Remember at the end she says, every child sees their parents in the eyes of a god.
Oh,
so
yes.
It didn't matter what she could have done to her daughter, like giving her away to go get burned alive. She still never viewed her as a bad person.
Yeah,
which is, like, really sad if you think about it. But
she tortured her mom, too.
by at least leaving her alone.
By
but
leaving
her
her
mom,
alone and leaving her in that world.
yeah, but her mom never got ate. Never
Yeah,
got,
that's true.
You know,
Yeah, the mom was just
tortured.
chilling, bro, while the bad guys were walking around killing all the other innocents.
Deadass. She'd like sit there probably just watch it.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like the rest of the innocent people, like the people who weren't the churchgoers that were aware of the murdering, I think that they probably, like, they obviously died, moved on, but I'm sure that they still got, like, not tortured, but killed by those creatures, because even if, that is a small town, even if you were not a part of it, you were, like, you heard of it.
Yeah. Also, you have to think about the fact, can people still be guilty if they choose to do nothing?
That's what I'm saying. They probably,
You
like,
know?
turned a blind eye to it.
So
So
like,
they still
those-
died. They probably weren't churchgoers because they weren't, like, they probably still died, but in a painful death.
Yeah. Yeah. What's it called when you, what's the word? It starts with a C, where you let things happen. I always tell Dad that that's what he does.
I can't think of the word. I know that there's a word for it, but I cannot think of it.
Like, you're like, oh, I choose not to pick any side, and it's like, no, you're actually allowing bad things to happen by doing that. I don't know
That's
the
what I
word.
was just saying. They turned a blind eye. They knew about it, but they were like,
Yeah, just cut
not
that
my
stuff
problem.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to ask you, specifically Kinsey. I care about your thoughts too, but I heard some funny comments come from Kinsey in the movie. What did you think about Pyramid Head?
Oh my god. Okay, so I never knew where Pyramid Head came from before watching Silent Hill. I knew what he looked like, and I knew a lot of people found him attractive, and I knew a lot of people cosplayed it as him, and would do like these little themed cosplays as him, or like the nurses. But I was incredibly scared of him. Now, they did choose such a buff man to play him. I don't know if that was like CGI or something, but it was giving very much broad shoulders. I was kind of into it, you know? Now, I'm not into the idea at all. Like, I know like a lot of people like have mask fetishes or something. I would not want somebody to be wearing...
Why'd you look at me?
I would not want somebody to be wearing a mask, I don't think so, and even a mask like that. Like, that was so big, it covered, like,
we've
all
talked
his body.
about a lot, and we'll probably continue to talk a lot on the show about the difference between attractions and, like, being into something.
Yeah, I liked the idea of him. I thought because I like quiet guys. He don't talk. That was nice.
Man's had
He
no
don't
mouth.
talk.
Man's had no mouth, no face. He don't talk.
But he had a nice body.
Yeah, the perception of him was very large. He was, like, perceived as, like, 9 feet tall, broad shoulders, like, played for days.
You were 4'11". Stop.
I don't care. But, like,
Something about a
he's
man with
scary.
dominance.
He was scary, though. Like, I think I'd be scared shitless being followed around by that man. And he can carry that big old sword like Guts. He tosses that shit around like it's nothing. He might drag it because he's lazy. But then as soon as he wants to fuck you up, he says...
No, but that was the scary part about him, that slow, lurking walk with the dragging
He's
of
like,
it.
I want you
That's
to
what
know.
made it more scary. Like, if he came at you with the speed, would it be scary? Yes, but something about that slow, agonizing pain, like, I'm going to get you.
It's kind of like this confidence of him, like, you will
You
never
can
run
you can
fast
hide,
enough.
I will be
You
there.
will never hide anywhere.
Yeah.
I will find you.
Yeah.
You know, he's like a crazy otherworldly being, so maybe his powers like allow him to find you or catch up to you at any point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe he actually teleports to you, but just walks slowly to you to freak you out.
Oh, that's
you know?
totally the vibes I get.
The vibes are I actually have all this power and I choose to just fuck with you.
It's a fun psychological game for me. I will
Yes.
kill you. Go ahead and run. It's funny.
Yeah, I think
It's
a fun
funny.
little Patreon thing to do someday after playing some more video games and finding out more about his character is to delve more into the character and mythology of him, because he's a very interesting villain and a lot of people's favorite horror character.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any specific thoughts about him, Mariah?
No, that was all.
All right, Kinsey, I just wanted to show you this really cool fan art I found, and I wanted to get your reaction.
That's exactly how I feel about his body.
She's like, that's actually how I picture him when he shows up with his oil lavender skin in the film.
Viewers, I just found some
big.
smut to show.
He's just so big. But, like, you know how we learned in design that triangles are the most aggressive, like, shape? Like, I don't like the fact that his mask is just a triangle and it stresses me out enough.
Yeah, that's a valid point. Creative design, they were like, it'll feel more aggressive, more like I'm coming at you with this triangle.
Well, I read about the creator. He went through many iterations of the mask design, and some of them were very monstery and almost like, I wanted to say like more organic looking, but he referenced some of his old designs of aliens and stuff like that, and a lot of his stuff was triangular, and he loved drawing triangular shit. And he's like, I'm just put a pyramid up on that guy's head, like.
And it sounds so cool. Pyramid head.
I would like to
head is
clarify that I
coming
do
for you.
not have a mask fetish. I have told Kailen that I found 2 films with 2 like characters that have masks attractive, and here I am stuck with a mask fetish.
Like, what do you mean, like, by mask? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, if I look at...
Phantom is only half.
Oh, hell yeah. Like,
I told her about V for Vendetta, and the main character has a mask. And I was not even saying that he was attractive. I was like, I think young me just, like, thought the idea of him having a mask was attractive. Not the character itself. And Kailen was like, you could have a mask fetish. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no. I will not accept that.
Yeah, if you look at Sailor Moon's man, he's got a little mask, you know, like, that's cute. I dig it, you know what I'm saying? But if you're going full on pyramid head mask in the bedroom, no thank you.
I don't know if that classifies as a mask fetish. You're just, like, mask in your face.
What?
Like, the fact that his mask is so large, there's no enjoying yourself.
I'm like, what is that?
You're just getting poked in the back.
Ugh. No thank you. No thank you.
Oh. Thank you, Salem the Cat. And with that, I'd say that I fucked it up. I was like, I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
There's something I wanted to ask you guys about. What did you think about how Alessa went about giving these like little hints to the girl? Because my opinion, I was like, if you wanted help that badly, why didn't you just tell her
you're a dick, man.
Why didn't you just tell her to go down to the first
I think that the hints were also for her to learn some of her story. It wasn't just the fact... Her. Yeah, but imagine if she just told her, hey, come down to the bottom floor of hell and talk to my dead corpse.
Be like, I have your daughter if you want to talk. Like, come on!
So I think the point is that, like, while she was getting these stories about her, she was getting, like, this sympathy of it. Like, oh my god, the pain she went through, like... And I think that it was almost like she was getting flashbacks of it. Like, this janitor guy did something. I don't know what it was, but he is a bad guy. And then moving on, like, to the hotel. Like, they did this to you. First is, like, she actually understood the story. She got, like, the empathy she needed and the feelings attached to those situations.
I could see that. I just wish she would have protected her more throughout the movie. Like, if you want her to find out about you slowly, fine. You want to earn that trust, okay. But, like,
why got Pyramid Head stabbing through the door?
Why can't we have some sort of immunity necklace on her where she can walk around and not get attacked? Right? Let's find
maybe she did.
Maybe the powers don't work like
that. Maybe it didn't get her all the way.
Yeah.
Maybe they were, like, just there to stress her out, but they weren't ever going to kill her.
For some reason.
Maybe they would have grabbed her and been like, wait a second, I can't, I'll let you go. Yeah, you're different, exactly.
You can cut this part and put it wherever in the podcast, but I wanted to say real quick that if you guys want us to play the original Silent Hill video game and experience it, I know that it's not Rose playing, it's actually the husband in the world, and that there's different versions of it. Just let us know. None of us... oh, man. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a hot cop in...
What's the point of playing?
Why are we playing?
So that's why you have to give us the recommendation, because none of us have played it, and I don't see myself going out of the way to play it unless it's, demanded to some extent, then we will try it.
If they're good games, I would play it.
I mean, the movie's based off the game. I would imagine the game being good.
They are a bit older, though, so, I mean, I wonder about its playability, but, like, that doesn't stop me from playing a game if it's old or not.
Mm-hmm. So, would either of you share this with somebody else?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I like horror films. I got no problem recommending horror films to people.
I recommended it to like 3 people after.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's fine.
I'm sad. I wish I could rewatch it without never seeing it.
Without never seeing it?
Yeah, like I wish I could erase my memory.
I'm happy that you were sharing your thoughts and your synopsis on this, because being so long since I've seen it for the first time, I feel like you brought up points that, like, now that I'm watching it with a more experienced eyes, I looked over and you picked up on quite a bit more, compared to me watching it, like, a second time. Shut up.
I love, like we talked about Over the Garden Wall last week, I love stories that are about purgatory, death, and
you want me to put that clip in again so the listeners really understand that you like...
Yeah, and stories that are about, showing how bad the church can be.
We're about to be some sort of gothy horror podcast when we have several cartoons and Disney stuff coming up ahead.
Yeah, they just don't get it. They're like, this is just for spooky
it's so funny.
season.
I feel like we really started off with things that are my jam. I'm like, yeah, I like those kinds of I like those motifs.
Strong start.
Yeah, it's okay. Well,
I gotta ask.
Yeah, you can.
Well, Mariah, what are you sharing?
I'm not next week.
It's Kinsey. Oh my god, my brain. All right. Well, do you want to ask Kinsey?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, sorry.
So, Kinsey, what are you sharing with us next week?
Although I spoke a lot for this episode, I'll be sharing Little Nightmares for next week. But I would like to hear what you guys have to say about how you felt playing it, and especially Colin when he plays.
Yeah, you'll have to get
Being
some
a first
commentary from
timer.
Colin for us.
I think I could pull him into the office for a second.
Yeah.
He can pause playing from Ark, his little dinosaur game, for a minute and come speak on it.
Yeah, I'm very excited to share it because it's not like I played this game before you guys played it. We did it at the same time together, but I've been having my eye on it for a long time. So the fact that I got to play with both of you guys while I was playing for the first time is why I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, that game rewired my internal hard drive.
I know nothing will ever be as scary.
Nothing ever. That was a different time of our lives, man.
Yeah.